Hey YouTube, and what is going on everybody? Today we are covering the Striker build. One of my favorite builds right in behind the gold build. So without further waiting, let's get right into it. My favorite build behind my gold build. The Striker build. It'd been so much better to run right now had they not nerfed it in 1.5. And I'll just go over some of the changes and what Striker really is. So Striker is one of the teal sets that you can run. A two-piece gives you 20% stability, three-piece 10% more enemy armor damage, and then of course the four-piece for Striker is every consecutive hit you do on a target will increase your damage by 1%, stacking up to 100. So what this theoretically means is that if at 100 stacks, I will be doing 614k damage. Now this sounds really good on paper, but the same thing like we talk about with weapon talents and hitting a target, same thing here. The downfall of Striker is it punishes you for inaccuracy. You may stack somebody heavily, but if you miss a shot, it counts twice on you. So I could hit you 10 shots consecutively and miss 3, and I'm down to 1 stack. Because it's now, I'm down to 4 stacks. Because it's 2 times the 3, which would be 6% down from 10, which will give you 4% left. So you would basically, this is really meant for somebody who's got really good aim. Hip firing, not so good on this build because you remember with the hip fire, you're not hitting every bullet on the person. But this is really good for ADSing, and it's also really good for PvE. So a lot of people like this build for PvEing versus PvPing. I like it for both, but it's a really strong PvE set to run, and it's a really decent PvP set too. It's really strong being run with a gun called the Sausage. We call it the Sausage, the SASG 12K Black Market, which we like a lot. When we run shotguns, me and my squad, when we do anything PvE wise, it's really good because this Striker stacks up so much faster with the shotgun, which I will demonstrate that for you too as well tonight. On this build, I'm running pretty much the same thing: 3 main stat into stam, 2 main stat into firearms, all stam and armor mods on here with self-heal mods as well. This is to, of course, accommodate to make sure that I have the strongest heals possible for myself, especially since I'm not running specialized on this particular build. Self-heal mods are just as important. I'm running Barrett chest piece along with Savage gloves. My stats on my main weapon, its base damage is 17.8, 25% crit hit chance, 45% crit hit damage, and 123 headshot damage. You can see we have a nice crispy 37% stability on this weapon. That 20% extra boost in stability is amazing. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And then another good boost is that 10% to enemy armor damage, which is 66%, making your shots very strong and very consistent. You can run this with a SMG if you want to, but I myself favor a Sausage or a Sausage 12K, which is this guy right here, which I will show and demonstrate both weapons to you. Now, what I have rolled on all 4 pieces, being, when I say all 4 pieces, I am speaking of my chest piece, my backpack, my holster, and my knee pads. Make sure you always have armor on them. That's really going to help you when it gets down to survivability, which is right here under armor. That number mitigation, 55.19%, 55% and above is where you want to be with the mitigation, especially from not even from a PvP standpoint, but also PvE as well. You definitely want to have that in there. Mods on the weapons, they can kind of vary and change. I mean, really, right now I'm running a headshot scope, and I still have a stability grip underneath. I like this. I like still running the stability grip because I just like having that extra sturdiness in firing. Especially with Striker, you want your shots to be as stable as possible. And I'll demonstrate the Striker stacks now. you're going to see the striker stack start to show up below the grenade sign, right below the grenade where it says I have 1 flame grenade. Right below there, you're going to start to see some numbers tick up. You may not be able to see it fully because of the perspective when it zooms in, but I'll zoom out and let you see too as well. So we're going to start stacking as we hit shots. That's me moving left to right. That's not the gun. If I was to hold it pretty steady, it stays pretty good on the target. Body shots, of course, that's a given all day long. It's not going to jump far out of there at all. And if you see below, we're now at 100 stacks worth of this gun. So we're going to go back up, and I'll show you here. 610, which was actually 614. I wasn't in fast enough. And then, of course, it stacks to your shotgun too. And what's great is you can switch between the weapons now. Previously, before, if you switched, it used to drop your stacks. But now you can use one gun to stack and have the other one up there pretty high. So one of the tricks of Striker, so I'll show you how bad it penalizes you whenever you aren't able to hit the target. So if you look at the stacks, you see how fast they drop. 2% of each time. It drops so quick. So with the shotgun, with the sausage, you can see your stacks and you watch the number. That's 8 because 8 shells. So this stacks really fast with the sausage. And those numbers just keep going up. And just like that, we're at 100 already. And you can see with the numbers how hard those shots are. Those shots really hurt. And the shotgun's doing almost 450, 460k damage. And then I can switch right over to my assault rifle and just kind of let the target have it. So that is some of the great trade-offs between the Striker build and some of the crazy things it can do. So talents are pretty much the same on the weapons that I have on my gold build. They're exact same weapons. You can see the crazy high base damage because Striker's stacking up. Brutal, vicious, destructive on the lightweight M4. On the sausage I'm using right now, it has deadly, brutal, and destructive. So really powerful, really strong weapons definitely are going to be the big thing. So some key notes to take from these builds: figure out what you want to do with the way you build it. Whether you want to go DPS or tank, it's up to you. With any build you do, DPS is primarily what I would. It depends. If you're going PvE, your team may want you to go a little bit more glassy, which means more firearms than stamina, just so you can be really hard hitting. And use your support build will provide that extra toughness you need by being in smart cover or just really strong heals, whatever may have you. In the dark zone, you probably want to balance out a little bit more or go a little bit less on the firearms. Maybe not as light as I run my firearms. You may stack up a little bit more, so it's maybe about a, maybe an even match or something, so that you could put out more DPS faster. Because you got to remember, your targets are moving a lot more. They're moving a lot more in the dark zone. So definitely make sure you guys are looking at your your attachments, because you can be more flexible with those guys, not having to do as much stability. Excellent for PvE, great for PvP as well. Firearms and stamina with armor mods, and also weapon talents always are a big thing too as well. I've listed out my lightweight M4 and MP5 ST, what's on there. 4-piece striker with the bare chest piece. And guys, that's pretty much it for the build. That's pretty much everything. Comment, like, subscribe below. Let me know what you think about the build. If you have any suggestions or if you think it's cool, let me know. Any questions, ask away. And also to you can find me on Twitter and on Twitch, where I stream every night at twitch.tv/babyfnelson. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you had fun and learned something. I'm BFN signing out. See you guys later.